What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Producing in a Pandemic, where we talk about tools and resources for artists and creatives. I'm your host, William Thompson, and in today's episode, I'm excited to present part 3 of my conversation with Kell Bailey. Kell is an extremely talented and gifted songwriter, musician, artist, and producer based out of Virginia. He is definitely, I think, one of the top up and coming young producers of our day and age of the gospel genre, gospel, praise and worship, Christian music. He is definitely one of the young up and coming producers, in my opinion. And I was so excited to be able to have him on the podcast. So I hope that you all enjoy part 3 of our conversation. Let's go ahead and tune in right now. So this is a more of an easy question. I know I've seen your videos. You've talked about Ableton, for more so for like live music in terms of like running tracks and things like that. But I think I've also seen you using Logic as well. Like, what is your preferred, DAW when it comes to production, and why?
Logic is going to be my preferred. Logic is definitely number one for me. Logic for me, I don't know. Logic, when I first started like making music, everything just came natural. It was like very few stuff that I have to actually YouTube and stop my workflow and look up. Like, how do you do this? It's like it's all right in front of your face.
Yeah.
And also the sound library in Logic is just amazing. Like, if you want to, you can do a whole album with just Logic stock sounds and
Yes.
mix it and make it sound good. And Logic is what I use
Yeah.
99% of the time.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm the same way. I'm a Logic user. I started on GarageBand,
Yep.
which
Same.
I call it Logic Light, because that's
Right.
basically what it is.
That's what it
Especially when
is.
you're using it on a Mac. It's a great way to like kind of learn Logic's
Basic interface.
exactly, without having too many things in your face. So
Yeah.
it's a great way to kind of like understand those things and get to learn different concepts and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's definitely that's the route I use. But I mean, I've done stuff in Pro Tools mostly when I'm at studios. That's
Yeah.
where Pro Tools comes in handy. Have yet to do anything with Ableton or
Hmm.
Studio One. But it's that for me, it is definitely part of it is the Logic library.
Yeah.
It was also the fact that because I started in GarageBand, I could easily import my projects or convert my projects from GarageBand files to Logic files. So that was really helpful because I didn't have to just like start over from scratch.
Yeah. They made it
But
super simple.
yeah, but that Logic library, Logic definitely has, I think, some of the most robust tools when it comes to that. Other programs, you're probably going to have to be using a lot more third-party plugins
Yeah.
and things, which is nothing wrong with that. Like Keyscape is dope, Omnisphere is dope. I
Hmm.
know you're a fan of Easy Drummer. Easy Drummer
Oh, yep. Yep.
is dope, and let's talk about that for a little bit. How does that work for you? Easy Drummer, like you prefer that versus the Logic stock drums?
Oh yeah. So from Easy Drummer, I have Superior Drummer. So
Okay.
so Easy Drummer is kind of like GarageBand, and Superior Drummer is kind of like
Yeah.
Logic. Similar, but Superior just got like the full on library. But for me, Superior Drummer is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bunch of different kits within there, tons of snares, like maybe three or four different quality drum sets, and it comes in handy when you're producing. Like, key drums is helps me a lot when I'm producing, like to
Mm-hmm.
actually feel the rhythm and to feel all that. That's something that I feel like Logic lacks. But I started
Mm.
off using Logic drums and I made them work for a long time. So it's no
Yeah.
knock to Logic, but
Yeah. It's
Superior
just
Drummer is just really, really good.
it's superior.
Yeah.
It's superior. I got you, man. No, that's cool. Speaking of sounds, I see you got some hardware with you.
Mhm.
Got the is that the Yamaha back there?
This is a Motif ES88 and a
Ooh,
Phantom on top.
okay, yeah. And I also know that your team Nord as
Yes,
well.
yes.
As I like to say, the Nord is where the Lord is.
No churchy.
Yeah, look, you gonna learn, man. You gonna learn. I definitely am.
I love it.
But yeah, so I guess speak like Logic has a lot of great sounds, but there are some sounds that they don't have. So how often are you, I guess, using the sounds in Logic, the virtual sounds in Logic,
Yeah.
versus using the hardware that you got, whether it's the Nord, Motif,
Mhm.
or the Phantom?
Yeah, for me, I'm about 50-50. Hardware recording analog in just does something completely different than what like VSTs actually do. So like 50% of what I would do is probably going to use the Logic library, and the other 50% is going to be hardware, whether it's my Phantom, my ES, or my Roland Integra.
Okay.
A lot of times when I cut keys, I'm using my Nord. Depending on what the record needs, I may pull out Keyscape or Ravenscroft. It's just good to have weapons because you never know what you may need. But if I was stuck with my Nord or any like my ES, I'll make it work.
Yeah, I think that's really good and important. I think that kind of separates the good or great producer from
Uh-huh.
more of a novice.
Yeah.
I'm in a group on Facebook for Logic users, and a lot of times I see people asking questions like, "What's a great plugin for this? What's a great plugin for that?"
Yeah.
And first thing I tell them is like, you start with your stock sounds,
No, facts
or
for real though. For real.
and I think it's really important to be able to like transition in a moment, especially for someone like you who also does performance live.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody. Sometimes you're not gonna have the setup to be able to do, laptop and
Mhm.
the controller, or
Yeah.
even a laptop, like layered with. I know you also be using racks and stuff
Yeah.
like
At
that.
church.
So
I love it.
sometimes you don't always have that setup, just
Mhm.
depending on where you are. So being able to maximize what you have, whether it's a Nord or a Yamaha, or if you use a Core Chronos,
Yeah.
or Roland, whatever your weapon is, just making sure you know how to use it, and
Yeah.
making
I
sure that
mean,
you
for
know how
some
to
people,
maximize it.
like some people really know how to tweak Logic piano and make it sound good. Like you may still know it's Logic, but maximizing what you have is huge. Like I know growing up, sometimes I wanted the latest, newest plugins. Then you get them and you don't even really learn them, or you don't even use them. Like, is there such thing as having too much? Like for me, if I start acquiring too much gear that I'm not using, I'm gonna sell it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
use what you have and make it work.
yeah. Definitely. It's about maximizing what you got, making the most of it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, I'm loving this. I'm loving this conversation. So speaking of gear, what would you, if there is anything or any few things that you would consider to be like your essential pieces of gear, first from a performance standpoint, like you gigging, what would you consider to be like, I gotta have this. This is like, if
Yeah.
I can't take nothing, I gotta take this with me.
Lately it's been my Nord. I have the Electro. So what I like about the Nord is it's light, it's easy to carry, and it gives me the quality that I need. Now there has been some settings that I've been in. I'll be honest, my Nord, it's been a little shaky. It's been a little questionable in terms of what I need. But what really helps me, you're able to upload samples into your Nord. So
Yeah.
when you upload your samples, it can give you sounds from the motif or really any piece of hardware that you want. So
Yeah.
that helps out a lot. But lately, in terms of gigging, I'm definitely bringing my Nord out because it's just portability and the sound quality gives me what I need.
Yeah, I think I saw your video when y'all swapped the
Yeah.
montage for
Yep.
the Nord.
Yeah.
I think you said part of it was also like the touch of it, right? Just the.
Yeah. Yeah, the montage, I don't know if the keyboard was new or what. Like my homies, they make fun of me still to this day because they're like, we should have kept the montage. But listen, I had to play it every week. They ain't have to play
Yeah,
it.
look,
I got to play this.
and
But yeah, the
honestly,
touch of it.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, Nord is becoming a lot more prominent in Christian music. So
Yeah.
having those sounds, the montage is great because historically, if you look at a lot of gospel music, from
Yamahas.
yeah, the Yamahas were really big in
Hmm.
terms of some of those sounds. But then, if you look at today's music,
Hmm.
a lot of that is both CCM and gospel. You're seeing that Nord being used a lot more.
Yeah, a lot
So
of that is due to people like Mike Burrell. I would say he's
yeah,
probably one of the pioneers that's really making Nord what it is. Not only him, but there's a lot of other gospel musicians using Nord. But yeah, that montage, a good board overall. But for me, like I wasn't going to use that board to the fullest. Like I figured
yeah.
that out fast. And also the pianos, I wasn't feeling them that much. They were cool, but in terms of they just didn't give me what I need. And the velocity, the
Yeah,
feel of it to me, I didn't like it. Like there's pieces of gear that you get. Like if you go to Guitar Center right now
yeah.
and you set at a keyboard, you know whether you like it or whether you don't. You ain't got
You
to
got to
sit with
figure it out
it.
fast.
You ain't got to sit with it for 6 months to decide you like something. You either like it or you don't. And the Nord, the minute we got that, some people say it's hype, but it's not hype because I'll be honest. Like the minute I got that, I was like, all right, this is right for me. This is what I want.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also depends on the musician because, like you
Literally.
said, you're the one that's got to play it every week. So the Korg might be a good fit for someone else.
Literally.
Yamaha might be a good fit for another one,
Hmm.
and then of course you got the different models in between that. You
Yeah.
get the ES, the XS, the XF. Do you go for one of the
Uh-huh.
other, not the flagship, and go for the Modi X or something like that?
Yeah.
It all depends on what you need. But that's the great thing about music. There's no
Yeah.
necessarily right or wrong path. It's just
Literally.
your path.
Some people try to make things super black and white with it and say the Nord is just trash, or they'll say montage is trash. Like I'm not going to be the person to say that. I'll just say, hey, this didn't work out for me. Try it for yourself. You may love it,
Look, the
but
only thing black and white is the keys.
right, yes,
That's it.
right.
That's it. The only thing black and white is the keys. So you say so your Nord is your essential gear for
Mhm.
gigging. When it comes to producing, what would you think is your essential kind of thing you need?
Yeah, I'll approach it from a limited standpoint. Some of the things like if I'm like kind of at my apartment right now. So I have this studio. This is my parents' house, and then at my apartment, I have some of my essential stuff. So I have a 49 key MIDI board.
Okay.
Gotta have the MIDI board. Then I have my Nord that gives me all the pianos that I need. Lets me have the strings on there are good. The organ on there is good. And then recently, I just picked up a Roland Integra, and this Roland Integra has like over 6,000 sounds.
Wow.
Roland lately has been growing on me. Like their sound selection is really warm and just quality. So for right now, I'll say my Integra, Nord, and a MIDI board and Logic, and I'm good.
Yeah, no, Roland does have some good sounds. Personally, I was kind of like you, where like I came up using Yamaha,
Mhm.
so I wasn't really a fan of like the Roland pianos.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's a
man,
little
those
different. It's a little different, but you can kind of grow to like it.
yeah, but I will say, and like I said, sometimes it depends on the musician because I've seen some musicians, Andre Jones.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah, yeah. So
Right.
I think he has a Roland, and I saw him play, and I was like, oh, you making that joint sing?
The Roland
So
2000. Yep.
yeah,
The
yeah. So
RT.
yeah, exactly. And that's great. But then you also got like the Phantom has some of those like really iconic synth sounds, like
Yeah.
especially for
J-pop
gospel.
grind.
J-pop brass. That's it,
Everyone
man.
knows about it.
Look, I was just watching what was it? A clip from Paris Bones, rest in peace.
Oh man, yeah.
Um he did the aux class for gospel producers,
Mhm.
and I was watching him do that breakdown for Hold On.
Oh my
And
gosh, that joint is so crazy.
oh my gosh, I need to buy the whole class first and
Same,
foremost.
same.
I need to buy that whole class, but golly, just that clip, that those few, like 10 minutes where he's going over that, and he's just saying like, like, look, everything I needed, I got one pad here,
Uh
and
huh.
then I got the synth patch up here with some bell. I was like, golly, like
Crazy.
that's, and it is great, so that's why, I mean, it's great to have variety, but it's important really to know what each thing does, know,
Yeah.
like, those strengths and weaknesses. So even with like that essential setup, it's like, all right, bet, I got my main board here
Hmm.
for keys, organ, strings if I need it. I have another board for maybe synth sounds, other varieties, as some people just call it smattering of different sounds.
Yeah.
And then you got your MIDI controller, so that if you want to do drums, if you want to do any other sounds, whether it's from Logic or any other sound libraries you got, that's really a great setup there.
Yeah.
So I know I've seen some videos with you having artists like in your studio
Hmm.
recently. Is that something that you typically do in terms of like working with artists? Like, do you typically bring them into the studio, or are they like, I'm gonna cut vocals at home, sending you the file, and like how do you typically do, especially like working on your own projects?
Yeah. Typically, if they're local, they record here. Like
Mm,
if it's if it's a local artist and they're
yeah,
able to get here and they're doing something for me, I'm like, hey, come by the studio. Let's do it right here in the bedroom.
yeah,
Pause. And if it's someone that I'm contracting from out of state,
hmm,
I'll hit them up, reach out, and be like, hey, I'll pay for studio time. Let me know the fee,
got
and
you.
we negotiate something. And yeah,
Got you. All right, that's what's up. Let's see what other I got just a couple more questions.
no, you good, you good. Okay.
Let's see here. So we're still in the midst of a pandemic.
Hmm.
People don't want to think so, but we are still in the midst of a pandemic. So, what challenges did that present to you in terms of both producing, recording music, as well as releasing music? Like,
Yeah.
what challenges did that present?
One of the challenges that come to mind, at one point, I remember 2020.
Hmm.
I wanted to contract some music, like some singers, to do background vocals. But of course, before the vaccine, before there was a lot unknown, it was like, all right, is it safe
Hmm.
to hire these musicians and risk getting COVID? Because I think we forget how scary 2020 was.
Oh man,
It was
frightening.
like you want to do music, you want to work with other people, but if you're a producer like me and you traveling to a studio to record vocals, it's like, all right, now I'm putting myself possibly at risk. Like you can't sing with mask on.
Hmm.
So that was one of the challenges I encountered. Another challenge was, um, I would say maybe that was maybe the biggest challenge, like
Okay.
bringing in singers. For me, that was probably the biggest challenge.
Okay. Because I'm guessing most of the musicians you were working with had like their own kind of setup or something like that.
Yep, most of the
Yeah.
people that I work with, like they got their own setup at home and they can record. The
Hmm.
biggest piece for me was just getting singers and
Yeah.
recording them and feeling safe about it. I think the people that I work with, they were willing to risk it and they was
Yeah.
cool about it. But for me, I'm on the little scarier side and I'm like, let's be smart. And I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know. Yeah.
And it looks like, at least based on like just some of the videos and stuff you put out, that that's not as much of a concern.
Hmm.
So that's something that y'all were able to work through
Yep.
in terms of that. Cool.
Yep. We
Cool.
came to an understanding and figured out the best way to do it. And yeah.
Got you. That's awesome. Look, I got to be honest. I'm super inspired just seeing you release musics.
Yeah.
I know when 2020 came, I kind of just had that talk with myself, like,
Hmm.
William, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna like sit on your hands and, oh no, the studio's closed, so I
Yeah. Yeah.
can't release music,
Hmm.
or I don't know any producers, and that's honestly like a lot of the stuff that I've talked about in terms of these episodes
Hmm.
are was me just trying to figure out how do I remain productive.
Yeah.
Like how do I keep how do I not just kind of sit on what I have. We churchy, so I could just go there. The parable of the servant and the talents.
Yeah.
You got the one guy who he took what he had, he invested it. Another
Hmm.
guy, he didn't invest it, but he worked, and he earned twice what he had. And then there's the third servant who just sat on his gift.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, one of the things I talked about this in church yesterday, the the gift that has given us is not our own.
Come on.
Like we're just stewards of it. So
Yeah.
like for me, it was really important in terms of like, all right, I got these songs, but at the end of the day, they're not my songs. They're God's songs.
Hmm.
So I got these ideas. At the end of the day, they're not my ideas. They're
Hmm.
God's ideas. So how do I not dig a hole and bury it, but how do I either put the work in or properly invest in myself or this idea for it to bear fruit, you
Yeah.
know? So I gotta say, man, you definitely have a inspiration, and I appreciate you just for doing what you're doing, and
Yeah.
even just aside from not just releasing music, performing music, but even doing your other videos, like there's a need for this knowledge that
Yeah.
people have, and there are a lot of artists, a lot of producers that aren't necessarily sharing it, or if they are, they're sharing it, but it's gonna be $100, or
Yeah.
$200 for this masterclass.
Consulting fee.
Yeah, and I appreciate you for just kind of taking what knowledge you've gotten. And it's not like we're not the most knowledgeable people in the world. It's not like we're the subject matter experts. We didn't write the
Yeah.
textbook on any of these things, but it's just we've gone through experiences. We've gone through the school of hard knocks basically,
Yeah.
and I want to take what I have and I just want to pass it on to others. So I want to appreciate you. Just for everybody watching this, I want to say, man, I definitely appreciate you for doing what you're doing. That being said, kind of like what's next for you? Is there any new projects that you're working on? Anything that we can, kind of be looking forward to? Anything that we can do to support you in your endeavors?
Absolutely. Yeah. So May 6th, 2 weeks from now, I have a single coming out. The title is I Am Safe,
Mm-hmm.
featuring my brother Chris Bender from Boston.
Yeah,
That's going to be my next single. It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be musical.
I can't
Um,
wait.
the musicians that I got on it, they blazed. And yeah, so that's coming out. And then after that, I may release another single this year. If
Okay.
I don't release another single, the next thing that you'll hear from me is going to be an album.
All
So I'm
right.
working on another album, and that's hopefully, if all goes well, it'll drop like the first half of 2023. So
Okay. And just let the people know what you currently have out right now. I'll see if I'll try to link it in the video and in the description so that people can go and kind of stream and support.
gotcha. So my artist name is Kell Bailey, Kell. The last name is Bailey, and I have an EP out called Take Your Place. I have an album. The name is Freedom Is Here, and then I have a single called Run to the Father that released in August of 2021. So collecting a nice little body of work on
Yeah.
digital platforms.
Yeah. Y'all go check it out, stream it, buy it, listen to it everywhere.
All those good
Um,
things.
we got Run that by me one more time.
Take Your Place, EP.
Take Your Place.
Freedom Is Here. And then Run to the Father.
Yep. All right. And then we got new music coming out on May 6th.
Yes, sir.
Kell, thank you so much. I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but thank you so much. This was a blast. And I appreciate you for being the first guest on here.
I'm honored.
It means a lot. I'm honored to have you. For real, I am. Guys, this was an amazing conversation that I had with my friend and brother Kell. I need you all to go ahead and do me a favor. If you appreciated what Kell had to say, first and foremost, go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Kell Bailey. Follow him on social media at @mkbailey_. And also go ahead and stream some of his music. Stream, download, purchase his music. His newest single, I Am Safe, featuring Chris Bender, is out now. It is currently out, so go ahead and listen to that on all major streaming platforms. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Producing in a Pandemic. If you found value in today's conversation, you want to hear more like it, go ahead and subscribe and follow our podcast. You can follow the podcast on all platforms: Google, Apple, Spotify podcasts. We're currently uploading there. And you can also find the video of this podcast on YouTube by looking up my channel, William Thompson Music, or look up directly the podcast Producing in a Pandemic, and you'll find my YouTube channel there, William Thompson Music. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and guys, until next time, keep creating. Bye.